Product is, I cannot see the screen. Oh yeah, here you go. So we have data products, which is like I have designed in two parts, which is like one SIM cards and one data products, which like picklist is like you can drop down data dongle and Wi-Fi router, and SIM cards also have like bifurcated in two parts, GSM and CDMA, mobile numbers. I mean, few are normals and few are paids, and unit sold, like how many products we sold, this comes in that, and unit price. This is actually which takes care of the inventory. And second part is the sales. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can. Please.
So leads. So first of all, leads. I mean, call for appointment. We have to pick list. It's actually leads which goes to like database and products. Okay, product interested. Which products the customer is interested? Like this will detail relationship with the products. The product and the appointments, we can do the date and time. Then comes the appointment status. Is it like open, close, follow up, approval needed? If we need approval, some approval needed, like if we need some special numbers or like special approvals in terms of sales, we would be needing some special approvals in terms of like they have to give the IST, STD, national roaming and stuff like that. This goes to my sales like upper hierarchy. And then application forms, the order number, then monthly targets. It will be formula like which all monthly target and sales. This the appointment status. If it is closed, then the monthly target would be like less than whichever target we have, like minus the target we have achieved. This will come here, and reviews. Reviews will go to reports. We'll make daily, monthly, quarterly reports. And recognition, like this will link, recognition will link to the monthly target, like incentive on the monthly targets achievement. I think we will put validation rule on that.
So what are these? These are fields or these are objects?
These are fields actually. Object is a field. Object is sale.
Okay. Now product interested is what?
Product interested, like customer, if any product interested.
Which customer? Where is the name of that customer? In which field do you track that?
Oh yeah, this will. Yeah, there would be one more field of customers.
Fine. So there will be one more field, right?
Yeah.
Now if I take this as fields, ideally this should be like this. So these are all the fields that you are talking about, right?
Right.
This is how your table will become. You say one more field for customer name. Okay, fine, I got that. And I have three customers. One is Navjot, the other is Cecily. Okay, I am running the business. I have three customers.
Okay.
And I have let's say Parthesh. Okay. Now what will be the monthly target for Navjot, who is a customer? What will you enter here? Will the customer have a monthly target?
No. Okay, this would be a separate object, I think. This would go to employees, I think. I messed up here. The monthly target and recognition part, this will be a separate object, I think. The employees.
Right.
I got you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So not just this one, there are a few more things which need to be understood. And now a quick thing for everyone to understand.
Okay.
When you start working on any of the data model, just keep in mind two things. Master tables and transactional. So see what the data model that we are designing, database is what? Database is collection of tables, right? We start putting tables, we start thinking of tables. So you should start with this thing that we have two types of tables. One is the master table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, master data we call it, not the master detail relationship. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Okay.
a master table. What is a master table? I mean, generally this is a generic word. You will not find it anywhere in the dictionary, or you will not find it in the Salesforce terminologies, but this is something that we use generally. So master table
Okay.
refers to the tables which hold the data which is already there. Okay. So something
Okay.
like your list of clients. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something like your products. Okay, so these are things which occur, right? And these things do not change. Like client list, I have, if I have a client called IBM, it will be IBM only, right? Product, if I have
Right.
a certain list of products, or if I have list of maybe leads, these are master tables, all right. Then you will have transactional tables, okay, the data, the master data and the transactional data basically. So what all master data I have and what all transaction data I have. Transaction data. Transaction data includes things like every time there is a sale, or every time there is a case which has been raised, every time there is an opportunity. So these are transactional things, right? So you can have multiple transactions, in the transaction data. So transaction data includes things like those, which includes the transactions. Let's say the sale or a visit being tracked,
Okay.
every visit or an appointment. These are transactional things, right? So these hold the transactions that happen between two master things. Okay, let's say the client and the user, they can have 5 interactions or 5 appointments. So that becomes a transaction thing, right? So any app would need to track both the sides. If we take the example of the yesterday's app, the tables, okay, in that table, your master table is vendor, right? Vendor is a master table, but the payments is a transaction data. Fine, that way, got that thing?
So I think over here the products would be the master data
Product
and
is master,
transaction would be
client is master data. Every time there is a
okay.
sale being made, that is a
Okay,
transaction.
client.
That's a transaction.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Like take
Right.
a simple example. Like you are a customer of the bank, so your
Mm-hmm.
data goes into master data, right? And you have an account detail that is also, that also gets stored in the master data. But every time you are performing a transaction with the bank, that for that
Transaction
that is
data.
also a table. I mean, that is also storing information. But those are transactions which are happening, right? So start thinking from that point of view. You will understand that, okay, fine, there are certain transactional data. Now, what mistake we might make is if we try to
Okay.
track the transactional data along with the master data, then we'll end up
Yeah.
repeating things. Let's say
That's a mistake I did, yeah.
the bank says that, okay, fine, in the customer detail,
Mm-hmm.
in the customer table, the bank has a customer table. There they put your name and they put your account number
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the amount you withdraw. Okay. Now this amount withdrawn is not one time activity. This is static, but this amount withdrawn will keep on happening, right? Every time you go and withdraw an amount. So that is the reason why
Yeah.
you need to differentiate the customer thing with the transaction,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is a repetitive thing. So I think that is one of the lines where we need to start thinking. Hmm?
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else who wants to add a little on this? Anyone who wants to add a little on this? Anyone who is interested to work on this app along with Navjot, who feels that he would be interested to get into this app data model? Any volunteers? Spend some time, do a bit of brainstorming. No?
Yeah, Jeet, I would be interested. So I can connect with Navjot and discuss things and bring some more clarity into this.
Yeah, so basically why I am saying this is because Navjot, I feel that you would need a little more clarity on how the two objects
Okay.
segregated. I am not very sure whether you did not spend time on it or not, but what I see at this point of time, I feel that if you do a bit of teamwork along with someone as Cecily will be coordinating with you.
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be more helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Thanks,
mean,
Cecily. Thanks. Yeah.
you can do that, sort of brainstorming that, okay, fine, we are talking about this object and all that stuff.
I know.
And your concepts will get a little more clear into the data model thing. Otherwise, I, completely understand that you guys have really very good concepts over the, the domain knowledge and all that stuff. But database or the data model thing is something where if you work on one of these things, your concepts will become clearer. So thank you, Cecily, and Navjot, please spend some time with her and try to.
Sure.
You guys can catch up over Skype or something, and then discuss a data model for 30 minutes and all, and it's going to be helpful. All right. So
Okay,
the
thanks.
next I have is from Parthesh, but I think he's still not here, so he might take a bit of time to join. Others also who have not sent me the emails, please send it. And Cecily, shall I start discussing your data model now?
Just a second, Jeet, could you give me 5 to 10 minutes, please? If you can pick up somebody else.
Okay, sure. All right. Who else is there? Who else has got the data model ready? I have received one from Parthesh, but he has not yet joined. Navjot's I have received. We have discussed. Sharon, we discussed yesterday. Sharon, were you able to make some changes into that? Into our discussion from yesterday, no?
I did not. No, not yet. I'm reading, but I haven't made any changes. Maybe in a day or two I will.
Okay, please do that. I am seriously looking forward to your app because that is a new concept I am also listening about. So I have not never got too much into this accounts payable kind of an app, and it's really useful. So
Yeah,
that is the
sure.
reason why I'm actually looking forward to hear more from you on your app. All right.
Sure.
How about others? How about Paulina? Non-profit thing. I think Paulina, we were discussing on the non-profit thing.
I'm going to get it to you soon. I would say give me a couple of days. I'm working on it. Can you hear me, Jeep?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. It's fine if you take a day or two, but please, try to make it a little fast so that we can do enough brainstorming on that. Xiaoxian is also. Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello? Hello?
Hello, yeah, hey Paulina, yeah, you were saying something. You said you need 1 or 2 days to work on that?
I'll get it to you in a couple of days.
That's fine, but please don't take more than that. And we have Dang here and we have Mohit. So, hey Dang, what project are you working on? Did you pick up a concept to work on a project?
Actually, I'm working on something like a health management system, which I have some object right here, but I didn't send you yet. I have a patient list, exam list, and something like exam bill to get what customer service from us, and we have some reports for that invoice or something. I think I can send you in a couple of minutes because I have already built it in the Salesforce for my own application, so I will send it to you.
That's fine. All right.
Okay.
And Mohit?
Yes, I just start. Well, this is my first session today.
Yeah, first time I'm seeing your name. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't taken up a project, but I mean, I can certainly do that and work on it.
Start working on that. All right, that's fine. Okay, so we are just waiting for Cecily to come in. Cecily, once you're there, just let us know. We'll discuss our project, and in the meanwhile, let us, talk a little on the topics that we have done. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and whoever knows the answer can, just start giving the answer. So first question.
Yeah.
Cecily, you there?
Yeah, Jeet, I got back. Yeah, I can start the thing.
All right. So let us, discuss our project first, and then we will go get into a few questions and answers. All right. Where is your document? So there are 2 emails I have received from.
Yeah, I sent you the updated one because I thought about it a bit more.
Good.
And I sent it to you in the morning.
Where's the data model? It's there.
The data model is the Google Doc that I shared because I haven't installed Microsoft Excel on my new computer.
So that is on the Google Doc, no? Just give me
That's right, yeah.
Okay, got that. So I have these 2 things. All right. So I'm sharing my screen. You can look into my screen, and you can just tell us a little about this.
I can't see it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically I just started thinking in the lines of what you had sent, the link, about how the requirement document should look. And it was not easy to do that, so I thought, okay, let me create a company and
this is a very good, it's a very good way of doing that. I mean, when you start, thinking like, okay, fine, let me assume that there is a company, you start getting suddenly you start getting more ideas. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. So otherwise, it's easy to go all over the place and not stay focused on what I needed. Yeah.
That's true.
So I saw that, okay, the company probably is looking at it's looking at creating an app where they can input all the candidate details, and then they can have a database for the where they can store the candidate details, the application details, the jobs, the positions. So these are the few requirements that I have written. Yeah. So the candidate object, thought of putting it as sorry, candidate, application, jobs, and positions. Sort of put it as as objects, wherein we can input details for each one. And the candidate should be linked to the application. So the candidate would be the create a parent-child relation, and application could be linked with the jobs and the position. That's the way I thought about it.
Okay, so shall I start sharing the data model?
And Chief, your voice is not clear.
Give me a minute.
And then I thought that
Is my
about
voice
creating
okay
a new
now?
object position. Chief, your voice is breaking up.
Give me a minute, 1 minute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's clear.
All right.
Yeah, so these, as you see in the data model, these are the objects that I thought would make sense for the app. And the candidate would be linked up with the application, the parent-child relations, and the application would be linked with the jobs and the position.
Okay, that's good.
And then in the application, I mean, there are still some things which I feel that I still have not got clarity, because I feel there is overlapping of some of the fields which may not, to have a clean model, I don't think that is needed, but I guess I'm not able to see it as of now. Maybe Jeep would be able to help me. So in the application, like when we post the jobs, we need to identify the channel, right, where we are posting. So I was not able to figure out how to. Will that be a different object? Job posting is a different object, or?
No, what is the difference between a job and job posting?
Job is basically identifying what the job is, the details of the job, and putting it together, whereas the job posting would be something related to how I'm approaching, what kind of sources I'm using to post the jobs, and all the interaction correspondence based on that job posting. I don't know if it really makes sense to have it as a separate object, but I'm just thinking aloud here. Because nowadays, I mean, the kind of applications that we see, there are various sources being used. So we need to keep track of that, right? Jeep, you're quiet.
Sorry, what is that?
I'm saying you're quiet because I was trying to think through that we need to have a separate object for that.
I mean, if we need to track that, that's absolutely fine. But
because it's a recruiting firm, so it is extremely important for us to track where we are posting our jobs, right?
that is true. So All right. And would you also want to add a client object? Which client the job came from? Basically, see, this job thing, if I am talking about a particular job, the name, description, division, duration, everything is there.
But
Which company?
But don't. But if it's a recruiting company, they do not specify the name of the client, right?
Okay. Is it not the internal thing that they are going to manage?
Okay. See, that's what I was getting confused between. Yeah, you're right. If I'm doing it the internal thing, I need to put in the client name.
Yeah, I mean, someone needs to know, right? Then
That's right. No. It is important. Yeah. So that will go in the jobs, but then when I'm referring to the job posting, it will not come up, right? I mean, that is not needed.
yes, right. So you can hide the field, but that field should be there. So when you are showing it to the candidates, then don't show this field. You hide this field from the candidates, but this field needs to be there, right? And this only does not need to be a field. This needs to be a lookup which connects to a database. Connects to another table.
So that table would be I have to create another no, because company would be the client, right?
Yeah, so you have to create another table for that.
Another object for client, yeah.
Right. So if I have to start it on Excel, I mean, if we just start looking at it quickly, one should be clients, the most important thing. Clients are, basically from where I get the job openings and all, who all are my clients. Second one is my inventory. So inventory is candidates in this case. Then the jobs or clients, then the jobs, then the candidates. The candidates and jobs anyhow you have included. Now other thing I want to understand is what is the difference between a job and a position?
The position was something which I thought where the company can track what jobs are filled in, and it's filled in by which candidate, and whether the status is it's still open or needs to be filled in, the start date, end date, and there are some more fields, but I didn't give it a thought. But that is the place where I can know the status of a particular job.
So why can't you track the status of the job in the job itself?
And then put a candidate ID there, because
Candidate ID ideally should be a part of application. There is a job, let's say there is a job for Java developer. Then you make an application for that job. That's an application ID for you. Let's say application ID 1, Cecilia applies for Java developer. Application 2, Jeet applies for Java developer. So I think candidate ID is something which should be there in application.
So then I'm making a mistake here, right? I should be putting the application ID in the candidate, right?
Yeah, that is what I feel at least. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? I think if this candidate ID goes there, rest all information comes to the jobs. Then we don't need this fourth object. We just need these three: candidate, jobs, application. Application is a child of job as well as candidate. So one candidate applies for a job, so that is where it should be.
So here we are having a master. All three are master data, right?
Master detail. Okay. For relationships, job is going to be a client of. Job is going to be a child of client.
Child of client, yeah. And
so you get the job. When I say job, it can be job requirement or position, open position, or whatever we call it. So this is one thing, and then the candidate is gonna be independent. It is not child of anything. And then we have.
So I think over here, I think Jeet, if I'm not mistaken, candidate would be a master data,
Yes, right.
right?
Your client says master data, candidate is master data. Your
Yeah, yeah.
applications are transactions. So every time someone
yeah.
applies for
So
a job, it's
application and job will become.
job is also master data. Application should be a child of job as well as candidate. So it will be a child of both the things, job as well as candidate. So there is an application ID, then which job has been applied for and which candidate has applied for the job.
Okay.
So that becomes that comes here, and after that, what else do you think is required?
Yes. This is all. This is all I could think of, Jeet. So maybe a little more of
using a
thinking.
new project or requisition, highlight the key attributes of a candidate.
Yeah, this is something, the highlighting the key attributes. I mean, search to enable the power search where the candidate.
That's correct. So if the clients and the job requirements and the candidates are tracked and then the applications are tracked, and after this applications, there has to be another thing, one more object that I can think of at this point of time. That should be after application. Do we?
Can we?
Please go ahead.
Jeet, can we add something like selection process or something like with the approval goes to the clients? I think we have already did that. Or no? Selection or something?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to think of is once the candidate has made an application, what will be the next steps in the process? What happens?
Then it's approval. Once the approval happens, the candidate gets selected and it's offered the job. Then it goes into the data goes into another department, right?
Right.
The status is closed. Status for that application, that job is closed, and it moves on to another data. The data is not. I mean, we don't need it. It goes into another database, right?
I mean,
that's my understanding.
1 minute. I think Shaxian is not able to hear us for some reason. Hey, can you hear us now? Hello? Is anyone else facing this issue of hearing?
Sometimes you're breaking up, Jeet. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes.
Otherwise, can you all hear me? She says she cannot hear anything.
No, I can hear you.
Mohit can also hear. So I think this.
Even I can hear you properly, like.
I think because of the weather, probably, I guess, if they are in California.
Yeah, because of the heavy rainstorm, yeah. Maybe because of the rainstorm.
Depends on where they are taking the call from, probably.
Okay. Quickly getting into this, after application, there needs to be an approval, right?
What did you say, Jeet? There needs to be a?
There needs to be an approval?
Yeah. So there needs to be an approval, and then the candidate gets selected, and the candidate becomes an employee. I mean, not an employee, but gets offered the contract and all. But that happens in a separate area, right? separate division. It's not for recruiting, right?
For recruiting also you have to do something, right? You have collected applications, and after that do you leave it like that, or what do you do? See, what is basically if we start thinking on this process of what a recruiting company does. You get a requirement from the client. Let's say I am running this recruiting business, and I get a requirement from my client. Okay, my client is, let's say, HP. They have a requirement for a sales manager. I try to get all the applications for that job. I post it at several places and I get some applications. Let's say I get 1000 applications. I cannot forward all those 1000 applications to the client, right? What I would need to do is I would need to shortlist them, right?
Yeah.
So what I feel is in the application we should have a status which can be a pick list. I mean, that is what I feel. You guys can tell me. And this should initially be applied, then there should be something like shortlisted and then selected, something like this. All right. So let's say if I receive 1000 applications, all of them will be applied at applied status. Once my team starts talking to them, they would shortlist a few of them, and once an application is shortlisted, it should be sent for an approval to the job owner. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know.
No, that's how it should work. So I did put the status for approval, because once it gets approved, then that first yeah, because based on the pick list values that you have given,
Right.
it can go ahead for approval, right?
Right. So I mean,
And
I
then
don't have
once
to
the
send.
status,
Yeah.
once the status changes to selected, then the recruiting part is done, right? Or is the contract a part of recruiting then? I don't know.
I mean, even if you are not getting into contract, but still we'll have to have some mechanism to track these, the candidates who have got selected.
So
Like,
once you say the status is selected, then the job position is closed, the status becomes closed, right?
right.
That particular job, right? So
Right.
then we are ending it at that, right?
Right.
So there should be a field update, right?
Field update through an approval process.
Field update, if the status in the application changes to selected, then the field, there should be a field in jobs. No, where, see that's what I was thinking, that the position is probably what tells me that, okay, that job position has been taken, the status is closed, right? And that ends the process. That's what I had in mind. So there's a status in the position object which gets updated through the workflow.
In the job also?
In jobs, can we put that?
We can put, makes sense.
Because you're saying it's a job requirement details, right? So how do you put the status there closed? Can you?
Yeah, so if that requirement is open or closed.
Yeah, so then it can, yeah, so once you do this application status changes to selected, we can do a field update on the status there.
Yeah, we can. We can do that.
Okay, so Jeet, I don't know if I was just trying to figure out.
But this, yeah. If you have to update this status based on this value, you cannot do a field update. You have to do that using a trigger. You can write a trigger for sure.
You're saying because it's a pick list field?
Not because it's pick list field, because we are trying to make update something else, some other field from a different object.
Oh, okay.
Our workflows allow us to work on that object only. It does not allow us to go to the different objects and make updates. But trigger can go to any object and do updates, right? So trigger is what
Okay.
you have to use here. But your logic wise, it's absolutely correct, and the trigger should be used here to do that update.
Okay, so you think this will end the recruiting process, and I mean, if we have taken care of everything, or should I look into something more?
I would suggest that you think a little more on the process of after application, what may happen. I mean, we are just doing, simple brainstorming here, but if you can think a little more on this, so it's a high level overview kind of a thing that we are discussing, but if you can think a little more on, still the time applications, applicants have submitted their applications, till that time it's fine, but after that, what is that we need to track? What happens after that?
I think once they get selected, the job offer process has to happen.
Yeah, but before you get selected, is there some other object that we need in the meanwhile?
In
the
the
time
meanwhile,
when
we
you applied
have,
and by the time you get
I think
selected.
interviews.
the
I think
process.
Jeet, can we add? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sylvia. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead. You were saying about interviews, right? So,
Yeah.
but creating another object for that, I
think that's the thing. I think Jeet was talking about. I think application. If my application got selected, like they'll call me for the interview, and there would be round of interviews, something happening, and then I got selected maybe.
yeah.
Am I right, Jeet? Jeet, are you there?
I am here only and I'm thinking deeply into this.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what, Jeet? I can look into it, and I can get back to you tomorrow during the class.
Yeah, that's correct, and somehow this interview thing seems to be important here, because you can
It
have
is,
multiple rounds of interviews.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, it is. Because we want to see the process through which the candidate is coming in.
Yeah.
Whether
And-
it's a telephonic interview, face-to-face interview, those things matter. So let me think more about this.
And in the interview, let us try to include things like maybe this interview will have an ID of the interview. This will have an application ID. So application, because it's a child of job and candidate, it connects to both the job and candidate. So we don't need any other relationship field here. And it will have a date, and it will have a time, let's say, or a date time, whatever. Now, what we would need to do here is we can think of workflow email alerts to be sent to the candidate before that particular date. Let's say my interview is scheduled on 15th of December. We can put a workflow email alert to be sent 1 day in advance, saying that okay, your interview has been scheduled. Something like that.
that's
right?
right. Yeah,
That's
sure.
right. All right. So as of now, you can start thinking on these 5 objects and come up with what all fields we need there, and let's see how we can actually work on that. Right.
Yes.
So this
yes,
application is also looking good at this stage. The concept is good and we are working good on this. So you can work a little more on this.
Okay. Thank you, Jeet.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
sure.
Okay, so then I do not have any other data models today. So I think we have talked about 3, 4. Parthesh has sent a data model, but somehow he is not here today. So I think we'll discuss his data model tomorrow once he's there. And so I just wanted to ask you a few questions. So it's like a small test. Okay. So first question that I have is on, okay, So this is how it looks for you, Cecily. These 4 objects and 1 object. This is what I was actually putting on my Excel spreadsheet. So you can just get some idea from here and try to enhance a little more on your own app. Okay. Now talking about a few questions that I was about to ask. What is a controller and what is a markup? Visual Force we have done. In Visual Force we must have heard of 2 things, markups and controller. So what's a markup, what is a controller? Anyone can answer.
Markup has to do something with the language, the tabs that we use.
No.
No.
Then what is
Okay.
controller? Controller is an Apex class?
Yeah, it was there, but I cannot recall it.
No, okay. Shaxian says controller is an Apex class, but that is not an Apex class. Okay, is it always Apex class? No. Alright. The other question that I have is, can you make a field required on the page layout? Yes, we can make a field required on the page layout. Can we make a field required while we are creating that field?
Yes.
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 Is there a difference between making field required using these 2 approaches? Does that make any difference if I make a field required while I'm creating it and if I make a field required on the page layout? Does that make any difference, or both of them work same way?
I think it works the same way. It's just that when you were creating it, you did not feel that it has to be required.
All right. Anyone else? Works the same? Okay. Why do we have page layouts? Basically, can we just have one page layout for an object, or we can have multiple page layouts for an object?
We
can have multiple.
We can have
multiple
multiple page layouts. Now think of this thing. If I have 3 page layouts, P1, P2 and P3, why do we have this multiple page layout option? Why do we need more page layouts? We can manage with one single page layout. Huh?
No, some fields we do not want to, we want to restrict some fields to some profiles or some roles. We can use multiple page layouts.
To restrict it from profiles, okay? So let's say I have 3 profiles, and for those 3 profiles I have created 3 page layouts. So if I make a field required, let's say I'm talking about account, and on account there's a field called website, and I have made this field required while creating that field, okay? At the time of creating the field, I made this field required. Then will it be required to all 3 profiles, or it will be required to any one of them?
Could you ask again, Jeet, please?
If that field, you made that field required while you created the field, okay? At the time of creating the field, you made it required. For that object, you have 3 page layouts, okay? Now, the field that you made required while you're creating the field, will that become required on all these 3 page layouts or one of these page layouts?
If I make it required at the time of creating the field, then it will be there for all the page layouts, right?
Right.
But if I don't, then when I go to P1, I can make it required at that time if I need.
Right.
So at the time of creation,
if you make it required on P1, if you make the field required on P1, then will it become required on all 3 of them, or it will only be required on P1 then?
Only on P1.
So now do we understand the difference?
Yeah.
So there is a difference, making it required through page layout and making it required while creating the field. Everyone else? Okay. So
Yes.
when you make a field required while you creating it, that time we call it universally required field. Why do we call it universally required? Because universally required is basically when you make a field required while you are creating that field. Okay. So why do we call it universally required? Because it is then required on all the page layouts. Okay. No matter which profile what, that field will become required on every page layout. Okay. But if we are talking about making a field required on a page layout, then it is restricted only to the page layout. Alright. So that is one thing, that is one difference, if you just want to make a certain field required for a certain group of user or for us, one or two profiles, then you will use the page layout approach. If you want to make something required for everyone, then use universally required approach. Got it? So there is a difference. Everyone is clear on this?
Yeah, sure, Jeet.
Okay. Now tell me one thing. Let's say there is a field which I have made required on this page layout. Okay. The field is not universally required. Try and understand the scenario. The field is not universally required. I made that field required on the page layout. Fine. Now if I try to upload the data from backend, do you think still it will be required? That will be required if I am uploading the data using a data loader? Got my question?
If
I've made the field required on page layout on P1, but
okay.
I am uploading my data using data loader. Then do you think that field will be required? It will throw error if I do not supply the value for that field?
Yeah, if you have made the field required and if you're using the data loader, it will create an error if it doesn't
have the data. But again, I am repeating that I have made the field required on page layout, not universally required.
But if it's on page layout, that field needs that data, right? So how can you?
Yeah.
When I'm uploading the data, that field, if it's not there, there's no data in that, it will throw me error, right?
Yes. So the concept is, because I have made it required on this page layout, it requires a data only if the data is being entered using this. Okay. So it's like you have put a security guard here. The security professional is standing here. All right. Now if you take a backdoor entry, which is through data loader, then the security guard is not aware of it and it allows the data to get entered. Got that? So making a field required on a page layout does not make any difference on your data uploads, the backend uploads that you do. Got it?
But then you will have records which do not, though you have made the field required field, you will have data which shows that it is not, that there is no data, but still it is not throwing me an error.
Yeah. So if you want that sort of a setup, so that is the thing, the page layout is not capable of restricting the backend data upload. This page layout does not have that power to go and check the backend data uploads. This is a poor guy. It's just restricted to that page layout. Okay. So according to Salesforce, it understands that anytime someone is entering data using that page layout, at that time it needs to be required. Backend upload it cannot handle. If you want data to be required while backend uploads, then you will have to use universally required. Got that part? So if you really want to throw error for that field, even when the backend uploads are happening, then you have to use universally required option.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Because in the backend upload, so it does not know whether we are talking about P1 or P2 or P3. So for data uploads to throw errors for any field, you have to make sure that you have made it universally required. Got it? So these page layouts cannot, control the backend data uploads. So if you want the backend data to check whether that field value has been provided or not, you cannot use it with the page layout. You have to make sure that that field is universally required. Clear?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Now, can you think of one more way of making a field required? I want someone else to answer. Anyone else? Not Shaoxian, not Cecily, and not oh, Shaoxian has already answered. It's validation rule. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are basically three ways of making data required. One through page layout, one through validation rule, one through your universally required. Right? All right. That's good. And can just anyone tell me how many types of actions are allowed through workflow? So workflow, how many types of actions are allowed to us through workflow? Someone new to
5.
answer that? Someone who has not yet answered any question? Come on, someone else. I'm dying to hear your voice, man. Please speak something. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel less. Some of you just mute your microphones and then go out and maybe have a walk around and then come after 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Is someone there? Hello.
No, Jeet, you should not think like that because we all are at the receiving end. We need information. We need learning.
No,
So
but that tomorrow you will have the recordings, right? So fine, let me listen to the recordings tomorrow. Okay. So Mohit says, okay, I am here. Yeah, Mohit. So do you want to tell us how many types of actions are allowed through workflow?
I wouldn't have any idea. No.
Workflow rules? No.
No.
Field updates, email alerts, assigning tasks, and outbound message. 4 types. Right? Yeah. Okay. Do we need to activate a validation rule before it can work, or we don't need to do any such thing?
yes,
Yes, we have to activate.
we have to
activate.
Okay. Do we need to activate workflow rule as well?
Workflow.
Yeah.
I think it goes default.
No, we have to activate. And
Okay.
do we have to activate the triggers also?
Yes, I would think so. Can you hear you? I have.
Yeah, trigger also need to be activated. So all these kind of things, validations, workflows, approvals, triggers, all these 4 things, they need to be at active stage. If you want them to be active, you have to make them active. Otherwise they would not work. A lot of times you will come across the situation that you have designed workflow rule, everything looks fine and it is not working. And then you realize that you have not activated it, right? So especially these 4 things, workflows, approvals, triggers and validation rules. These need to be.
I have a little question. It's a little off. So when you're saying we have to activate all of these things, before it goes live, does it go to the QA for testing first?
Depends actually. See, why I'm saying this. Ideally, the process is that only. That first of all, you do a development. There is a developers team which develops it. Then there is a testing team. The process should be that which tests it, and then it goes to the goes live. All right. However, because Salesforce has few very small implementations also, you must have seen the kind of pricing that they have. So small companies also using it. Sometimes they do not have that big team, that there's a separate developers team and then there is a testing team. So sometimes what they do is the developers themselves do the testing and then they deploy it. Not just that, sometimes we directly develop on the production itself. And trust me on this, that happens. I mean, you can, small things you will just straight away develop on the production thing. But ideally it should go from the development to the testing, then to the production.
Okay.
Fine. So I mean, this is again a good thing that you guys need to know or you should be knowing. that this is how the process is followed, right? You guys have any idea on what is a sandbox? Who knows what's a sandbox? Anyone?
Like a trial thing, you kind of play around with it before it actually goes live.
Right. So sandbox, actually Salesforce provides you the sandboxes, and the development needs to be done on sandbox. So ideally you should not develop anything directly on production, because there can be certain things which go wrong. So before you bring anything onto the production, so sandbox is kind of a replica of your production. So that's a different org. You develop everything there and then move. Once you feel that, okay, fine, now it has been designed properly, it looks exactly the way I wanted it to be, then you can move it to the production thing. Right? All right. Anyone else? Any other questions? Dang is going to share, I think, in some time. All right. So that's fine then. I think we are good for today. Tomorrow we are going to discuss a little more on the deployment part. So I am in tomorrow's session I'm going to give you a little more understanding on how this entire process flows, right? So first half of any project you are now aware of, that we do a bit of discussions with the clients and then we try to come up with a data model. Now I'm gonna, tomorrow's session I'm gonna give you a little more in tomorrow's session I'm actually gonna give you a little more details on how is the second part taken care of, right? So you will understand how do we work on the second part of it, and I would want everyone to get onto the pace and start designing the data model. Not, I just don't want you to keep it only till the Excel spreadsheet. So let's increase the scope of it. So we will get into that. Right. Hey, I think